In the last few classes, we were discussing about how we can model a system in state space form. We had seen how to convert a transfer function into state space form and back. We had also seen that for any given system, transfer function is unique, but state space representation is not unique, which means there can exist more than one or two, or there exists infinite number of state space representations for the same given system. Out of which we discussed the two main forms. One was the controllable canonical form, and the second one was the observable canonical form. So having discussed all these things, today we are going to discuss what will be the time response. Okay, so you have the system in state space form, x dot equal to x plus bu, y equals cx plus du. Now, what is x? Okay, that is what we mean by solution or the response, time response, right? So today we are going to discuss what is the time response and the concepts of controllability and observability. Okay, so we'll get into details. Time response. Okay, time response. Right? So we have our state space representation like this. X dot equals ax plus bu. And y equals cx plus du. What do you mean by time response? We have to find what is x of t, the state, how the state evolves over the time t. Okay, that is what we mean by time response. So this is a differential equation. So we can take Laplace transform, fine. So you take the Laplace transform of 1, taking Laplace transforms of 1, taking Laplace transforms of 1. Okay, what will you get? You will get Sx of s. So now that will be initial condition minus x of 0 equal to what? A into x of s plus b into u of s. Agree? So now x of s, there is an x of s term in the left side, another x of s term in the right side. So I will take the right side x of s term to the left side, and I will take the left side x naught term to the right side. So what will I get? S into x of s minus a into x of s equal to what? X of 0 plus b into u of s. Okay, now let me take x of s common. So what will you get? What will be the fact? X of s is common. So what will you get? You will get SI. Why is this SI? Because A is a matrix. Okay, had A been a scalar, then you would have simply got S minus A. Okay, but here keep in mind A is a matrix, A is an array. Okay, which has got m rows and n columns depending upon the dimension. Okay, so we have to take Si minus A. So Si minus A into x of s will be what? X of 0 plus b into u of s. Okay, what is our aim? Our aim is to find what is x of t, because that is the time response. So to find x of t, we need what is x of s. So how can I take x of s from, how can I get x of s from this expression? I have to pre-multiply with Si minus A inverse. Okay, so what will you get? X of s equals Si minus A inverse x naught plus Si minus A inverse b into u of s. Okay, now it's easy. We have to take the L inverse Laplace transform. So what will be our x of t? X of t will be L inverse x of s. Okay, that means L inverse what? Si minus A inverse x naught plus Si minus A inverse b u of s. Okay, so that means what will you get when you take the inverse Laplace transform? What will you get? L inverse Si minus A inverse x naught. What will you get? It is like L inverse 1 by s minus A. Okay, say 5 divided by s minus A. What will you get? It will be 5 e raised to at. Right? Similarly, here you will get x naught e raised to at into x naught. Is it not? Here, the only difference is that here the small a is a scalar, whereas here a is an array or a is a matrix. That's the only difference. Okay, so you will get e raised to capital AT. So e raised to AT will be in matrix form. Okay, so e raised to AT x naught plus, how will you find L inverse of this term? you have to make use of convolution integral. Okay. So if you want to find L inverse, say G of s into x of s, what will be that? That will be integral 0 to t G of t minus tau x of tau d tau. Okay, so same thing will be coming here. Why? Because these are this is a product of two functions in S. Okay, then you have to go for what is called convolution integral. Convolution integral. Okay, so you will get integral 0 to t e raised to a t minus tau du tau d tau. Okay, so this will give you the time response. Fine. This e raised to at matrix, that is called state transition matrix. E raised to at is called state transition matrix. Okay, e raised to at is called state transition matrix. Let us take up one example. Obtain the state transition matrix. Obtain the state transition matrix. Obtain the state transition matrix where x dot equals 0 minus 2, 1 minus 3x plus 2, 0 u and y equals 0, 3x. If x1 0 equal to x2 0 equal to 1 and u of t equal to 0, find x1t and x2t. Okay, find x1t and x2t, right? So keep in mind, just now we had seen how to find x of t. What was the how to find that? E raised to at x naught, e raised to at x naught plus integral 0 to t e raised to at minus tau bu tau d tau. Okay, so first we have to find what is the state transition matrix e raised to 8. Okay, so what is our A matrix? Our A matrix is 0 minus 2, 1 minus 2. Okay, so we have to, what's our aim? Our aim is to find what is e raised to at. How will you find e raised to at? L inverse Si minus A inverse. Okay, so this is A. So what will be my Si minus A? Si minus A will be what? S0, 0, S minus 0, minus 2, 1, minus 3. So my Si minus A will be what? S plus 2, minus 1, S plus 3. Okay, now how will you find Si minus A inverse? Adjoint divided by determinant. Is it not? If you have a matrix A, how will you find the inverse of matrix A? Adjoint of the matrix divided by the determinant. Okay, what do you mean by adjoint? Cofactor transpose. You know that, right? So you find that. So what will be the determinant? Determinant will be determinant Si minus A will be what? Here it will be S square plus 3s. This into this minus minus 1 into 2. That means plus 2. So this will be S plus 1 into S plus 2. Determinant will be this thing. So I can straight away write 1 divided by S plus 1 into S plus 2. So what will be the adjoint matrix? It will be S plus 3, then minus 2, minus 1, 1 and S. Okay, S plus 3, minus 2, 1 and S. Okay, so now we can take this determinant inside the matrix. So I can straight away write like this. This becomes what? S plus 3 divided by S plus 1 into S plus 2. Here I have minus 2 divided by S plus 1 into S plus 2. Then 1 divided by S plus 1 into S plus 2. And finally S divided by S plus 1 into S plus 2. Okay, so this will be my Si minus A inverse. Okay, now what next? We have to find the inverse Laplace transform of each term. Okay, because that is what is e raised to at. Fine. So what will you get? Therefore, e raised to at will be what? L inverse Si minus A inverse. That means L inverse of each term. L inverse S plus 3 by S plus 1 into S plus 2. L inverse minus 2 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 2, L inverse 1 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 2, L inverse s divided by s plus 1 into s plus 2. Okay, now how will you solve this further? You have to go for partial fractions. Okay, a by s plus 1 plus b by s plus 2. So you have to go for partial, you have to apply partial fractions for each of this term. Okay, for each term you have to apply partial fraction. Okay, so eventually what will you get? Solve and tell me what you are getting. What will you get? Solve. So that must be what? What should be the first row? First row must be 2e raised to minus t minus e raised to minus 2t. Then minus 2e raised to minus t plus 2e raised to minus 2t. Second row must be e raised to minus t minus e raised to minus 2t. Then minus e raised to minus t plus 2e raised to minus 2t. Okay, this will be your state transition matrix. Now, how will you find the state time response? X of t will be what? E raised to at into x naught plus integral 0 to t e raised to a t minus tau b u tau d tau. Okay, but in the question something is given. What is that? If x1 of 0 equal to 0, x1 of 0 equal to x2 of 0 equal to 1 and u of t equal to 0. Okay, so since u of t is equal to 0, this term vanishes. Okay, so what next? E raised to at into x of naught. That means 2 e raised to minus t minus e raised to minus 2t, e raised to minus t minus e raised to minus 2t, minus 2 e raised to minus t plus 2 e raised to minus 2t, minus e raised to minus t plus 2 e raised to minus 2t. This is e raised to at into x naught. X naught is given. x1, x1 of 0 is 1, x2 of 0 is 1. So into 1, 1. Okay. Now what will you get? If you solve this, you will get e raised to minus 2t, e raised to minus 2t. Okay, so what is your x1 of t? x1 of t is e raised to minus 2t. What's your x2 of t? Same as x1 of t. That means e raised to minus 2t. So in this way, we can obtain what is the time response. Okay. So now we'll move into the idea of controllability. Controllability. Okay. So now we have our system in state space form. So if you want to design a controller for a system in state space form, then the system has to be both controllable and observable. Okay, the system has to be both controllable and observable. Then only a controller can be designed. Okay, so we will look into what is controllability. So I will first write the definition. A system is completely controllable. A system is completely controllable if there exists an unconstrained control, an unconstrained control u of t that can transfer any initial state x of t naught to any other final state x of t in finite time, in a finite time. Okay, suppose we have a system with two states, x1 of t and x2 of t. Okay, so initially this is at time t naught. Okay, so this is the state, right? So this is the corresponding state at the final time. Okay, so if there exists an unconstrained control u of t so that you can transfer this state in finite time, then the system is said to be controllable. Okay, if we are able to transfer a state, all the states from its initial time to its final time within a finite time period using an unconstrained control, then the system is said to be controllable. Okay, so there's a test to check whether the system is controllable or not. Okay, the test is as follows. So if you have the system x dot equals ax plus bu, right? The check is like this. You have to check the rank of this matrix. This matrix PC is called controllability matrix. Controllability matrix. Okay, so rank of PC, and that means rank of, what is PC? B, AB, A square B, etc. A raised to n minus 1B. If the rank is n, okay, if rank of this matrix is n, what is n? N is the order of the state vector x, x1, x2, x1 dot, x2 dot, etc. up to xn dot. Okay, so we have total n number of states. So if the rank of this controllability matrix PC is n, then the system is said to be controllable. Okay, if the rank of PC is n, then the system is controllable. Then the system is controllable. Right? And how will you check if the system is of rank n? You just need to find the determinant. The determinant of PC is non-zero, then the system is of full rank n, and hence the system will be completely controllable. Okay, so that is, if determinant PC is not equal to 0, then the system is controllable. System is controllable. Okay, let us take one example. Check the controllability of the system x dot equals, you are given a 3 by 3 matrix, 0 1 0 0 0 1 minus a naught minus a1 minus a2 into x plus 0 0 1 u. Okay, and y equals 1 0 0 x plus 0 into u. Have you seen this form? This was our controllable canonical form. Okay, if you remember our A matrix, the last row. Okay, the last row was negative of the coefficients straight away, and the rightmost square matrix contained was a diagonal matrix with diagonal elements 1. Okay, so this is already in controllable canonical form, right? So how can we check for the controllability of the system? We have to check for the rank of the controllability matrix PC. What is PC? B, AB, up to what point I have to continue? Up to A raised to n minus 1. What is n here? N is 3. So n minus 1 is 2. So we have to go up to A square, B A square. Okay, so what will you get? B matrix is this, 0, 0, 1. What will be A into B? 0 into 0 plus 1 into 0 plus 0 into 1. 0, then 0 into 0, 0 into 0, 1. Then minus A naught into 0, minus A1 into 0, minus A2. Right? Then A square B. You take the square of this matrix A, multiply that with B. You should get 1 minus A2 and A2 square minus A1. Okay. Now we check the determinant PC. Determinant of PC. What is that? It is equal to minus 1, which is not equal to 0. Therefore, system is completely controllable. Completely controllable. Okay. Now, the last concept, that is called observability. Observability. Okay. A system is completely observable. A system is completely observable if and only if there exists, if and only if there exists a finite time t such that the initial state x naught, such that the initial state x naught can be determined from the output y of t given the control u of t, given the control u of t. Okay, so that means if from the output you are able to determine, okay, if from the output you are able to determine all the states, then you can say that the system is observable. Okay, it's completely observable if and only if there exists a finite time. Okay, that should happen within a finite time. Okay, such that the initial state can be thus determined from the output y of t. Okay, so you are given the control signal u of t. If you are able to find out the state, all the states from the output equation with this given control in a finite time, then the system is said to be observable. So similar to a test to determine the controllability, here we have another test to determine observability. Okay, and that is given like this. So you have a system x dot equal to ax plus bu and y equals cx plus d. Okay, so if rank of observability matrix, okay, what's observability matrix? That is given like this: C, CA, etc. up to CA raised to n minus 1. If the rank is n, then system is observable. Then the system is completely observable. Okay, then the system is completely observable. Okay, let us try one example now. Check the observability of the system. Same question that we did before. Okay, you are given a matrix like this: 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, minus a0, minus a1, minus a2. Then your C matrix is 1, 0, 0. So what will be the observability matrix P0? That will be C, CA. Up to what point I have to go? I have to go up to a raised to n minus 1. So and for the given system, n is 3. So I have to go up to CA square. Okay, CA square. So what will you get? C is 1, 0, 0. What will be CA? You can multiply and C. 0, it will be 0, 1, 0. CA square will be 0, 0, 1. So determinant P0 that is not that is equal to 1, which is not equal to 0. Therefore, system is observable. Okay, system is observable. So to check the rank, what you have to do, you have to see whether the determinant of this matrix is non-zero. Okay, if the determinant of the matrix is non-zero, then the matrix will be having full rank n. Okay, so this is how to check the controllability and observability. Okay, now we will stop with another example. Spread of an epidemic disease. Spread of an epidemic disease. Just to show how we can model, okay, with the help of state space representation, right? So the spread of an epidemic disease can be described in terms of differential equations. Okay, so the population under study can be considered as made up of 3 groups. One is called S, the susceptible group. I is the infected subgroup, and R is the removed group. What do you mean by removed group? Removed group means people who have already died. Okay, so here you have a society with many subjects, many people. Okay, there are many people, right? So suppose you have one infected person. Okay, so when the infected person comes in contact with other healthy people, what happens? They are susceptible. So these are all susceptible people. Okay, the black ones are all right now susceptible. Okay, and the red one is the infected person. So when the infected person goes to another neighbor and coughs or sneezes or does anything like that, what happens? These susceptible people will also become infected. Okay, so and so on, the chain grows. Okay, so there are mainly 3 groups. We can broadly classify the total population into 3 groups. One is susceptible, S, and the next one is infected, I, and the other one is R. R may be people who have died or people who are in quarantine, people who have got immunization, etc. Okay, so that is what is meant by R, right? So this can be represented in differential equation form like this. So d by dt of the rate at which it is people are getting susceptible minus alpha s of t minus beta I of t plus u1 of t. Okay, I will explain this. Then d by dt of I, that can be written as beta s of t minus gamma I of t plus u2 of t. And finally d by dt of R, that is alpha s of t plus gamma I of t. Okay, so this is the rate at which the susceptible group increases, ds by dt. Okay, that is that has a component corresponding to S and I. S is susceptible group and I is the infected group. So alpha is some constant. Okay, and U1 is the rate at which the susceptible people are added. Okay, the rate at which new susceptibles are added. That is what is indicated by U1. So in a closed population, if there are no external people coming from the group or no one is going out, we can say that U1 of t is 0. Okay. Similarly, if there are no more movements, people are all isolated, segregated in quarantine, then U2 of t will also be equal to 0. Okay. So alpha, beta, gamma, they are all appropriate constants, right? So how can we represent this in state space form? In signal flow graph form. So let me call this as x1 dot. Okay. This as x2 dot, and this as x3 dot. Okay. So here there should be one u1. Okay. So this must be my x1 dot. This is u1 of t. Okay. So x1 dot. What is x1 dot? x1 dot is minus alpha x1. Okay. So this is x1 dot. X1 dot is minus alpha times s1. So s1 is what? Again, that is x1. Okay. So if this is your x1, this is minus alpha into x1, then minus beta into I, right? So that means, so this is x1 dot, this is x1. Okay, let me mark all these things first. Okay. Then here we have u2. Here we have x2 dot. Okay, this is my x2, right? So this basically becomes what? Minus alpha x1 minus beta x2. Okay, plus u1 of t, right? So this is x1 dot is minus alpha x1. Minus alpha. No, not like this. So this is my u of t, u1 of t. Okay, this is u2 of t. Okay, so here I have x1 dot. Here is my x2 dot. Okay, so what is x1 dot? X1 dot is u1 plus. So this is u1 plus what? u1 minus beta x2. Okay, so if this is x1 and this is x2. Okay, so x1 dot must be minus alpha times x1. So this is minus alpha times x1. Okay, then what? Minus beta times x2, right? So that means here there should be a channel from this at minus beta times x2, okay, plus u, right? So we have done all these things. X1 dot is u1 of t minus alpha times x1 minus beta times x2. That is done. Okay. Now what next? x2 dot. What is x2 dot? I can write this as beta x1 minus gamma x2 plus u2. So there should be a channel from u2. So this is a channel from u2. Then plus beta from x1. So here this should be beta from x1. Okay. Then there should be a component from x2 at minus gamma. So this is minus gamma. Okay. Now what is this? x3 dot. So what is x3 dot? Alpha times x1 plus gamma times x2. Okay. So suppose this is x3 dot. Okay. There should be a channel from x1 at alpha times and from x2 at gamma times. Okay, so if you integrate this, you will get 1 by s x3 of t. Okay. So if you integrate, so this is not complete. So x1 dot, if you have to integrate that, right? So x1 dot, this must be 1 by s. Okay, this must be 1 by s. And here also, if you integrate x1 x2 dot, you get x2. Okay, so this will complete. Okay. So now suppose, so what do you mean by equilibrium state? Have you heard of the term equilibrium state? Equilibrium state in state space form, x dot equal to ax plus bu, y equal to cx plus du. Okay. Assume that the input part is 0. That means you are considering only an unforced system where there is no external input. Okay. So this system is said to be equilibrium if the system is at rest. That means x dot equal to 0. Okay. So x dot must be equal to 0 at the equilibrium state x e of t. Okay. Then we say that the system is in equilibrium. Okay. So here, when can we say the system is in equilibrium? So in matrix form, I can write s dot I dot r dot equal to what? Minus alpha beta alpha minus beta minus gamma gamma, then minus alpha minus beta beta minus gamma alpha gamma 0 0 0 into what? S of t, I of t, u of t. Okay. So since we are considering equilibrium point, there is no need to consider the u1 ut terms. Otherwise, what happens? Plus there will be u1 1 0, then 0 1 0 0 into u1 ut. Okay. So equilibrium point means the system is at rest. That means what? S dot equal to 0, I dot equal to 0, R dot equal to 0. Okay. So if that's the condition, then how can you find the equilibrium point? What will be the equilibrium point in that case? Equilibrium point means the system is at rest. That means x dot equal to 0. So that means s dot I dot R dot equal to 0. This is what we mean by the equilibrium point. Okay, system is said to be equilibrium if there is no motion at that point. Fine. So what will be the Cap's equation? How can you find the Cap's equation? Lambda I minus A or Si minus A. What's our A matrix here? This thing. Okay. So if you do that, you will get lambda square plus alpha plus gamma into lambda plus alpha gamma plus beta square equal to 0. Okay. So if you can ensure that if the roots of this Cap's equation are in the left half of the S-plane, then the unforced response will tend to 0 as time tends to infinity. The unforced response, okay, or x of t will tend to 0 as t tends to infinity. Okay. So we'll stop here. Thank you.